versus KT Rolster, game number 1. And Corky, the first ban.
So patch 6.6, there's actually a lot of changes. I have a summary of them in front of me, and there's literally over 10 champions worth of relevant changes. So it'll be interesting to see how the drafts shape up. Nidalee, of course, had some changes to a jungle clear speed and safety in the jungle, but still has that high pressure style, and you definitely don't want to give Peanut over the Nidalee. Still undefeated on that for the season, so perhaps not surprising to see it continue in the ban list. The big change, of course, will be Fiora. There's a lot of Fiora nerfs put forward. She was the one keeping those tanks in check, so I have to feel like Maokai especially is going to be basically pick and ban status this week.
Yeah, probably. We did see the Poppy banned out against Smeb. That's been a great champion for him lately. And it just feels wrong to have Smeb play a tank. You know, I mean, Poppy's an exception, I guess, because you can get kind of aggro on Poppy, but I don't know. If Smeb ends up playing that Maokai, like a single tear will roll down my bloodthirsty cheek, Papa Smithy. Echo did get some decent buffs this patch too, by the way.
Echo, I think, will be a consideration, but not till later rounds of the draft. Very early lock-in of the Kindred that Peanut looked very impressive on. It's the strongest dueling jungler with Peanut. Peanut not being able to pick up the Nidalee, so it makes sense to go for that.
Peanut did look really good on that Kindred in ROX Tigers' last match out.
Coming back to the Poppy, it's a real shame that KT have to ban out Poppy because it's been by far Sunday's best performing champion next to Fiora and Gangplank. It's been the carry champions that he's really found success on. Gangplank ban, KT forced to ban Smeb's Poppy. Sunday was 7-2 on Poppy, Smeb 10-0. But the reality is now we're going to have to see the extended champion pools for Sunday in particular. And once again in 2016, it's been about can KT get Sunday onto a carry? And with that Maokai lock, the answer is clearly no.
Yep, Maokai and Sivir locked in for KT, so no big surprise there. Sivir obviously is really, really good right now. Critting people with those boomerang not boomerang blades, with the bouncing blades.
You pick up Infinity Edge, 2.5 times crit. Only 80% base damage for the Ricochet, but 80 times 2.5 is 200%. So effectively critting the backline was something that Sivir was never able to get access to. Usually you just end up soaking damage in the front line through a frontline tanky champions like the Nautilus and Alistar. But with the changes, Sivir's doing so much more damage in fights, and the result has been a real resurgence in the pick.
It's pretty insane. Nautilus and Alistar locked in for ROX Tigers, so Gorilla gets to play his best champion yet again.
15-2, soon to be 16-2 potentially.
Maybe, yeah. And so we're going to assume then that the Nautilus is going to go to top lane. Seems reasonable. What's it going to be for KT? Bard is, of course, very good right now. Yeah, might as well grab the Elise for score too.
Looking like it's going to be a pretty low threat team comp. I really like KT comps when they can open up Sunday to play a carry, because when Fly is forced to shoulder damage responsibilities, I think that's where KT really struggles. His percentage of team damage is very low compared to other mid laners. And when Sunday plays the carries, okay, they have backup carry threat, but now with a control jungler Elise, a tank top laner in Maokai, KT haven't shown great proficiency with team comps like this throughout the 2016 season.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the worry, right? I mean, if Smeb plays a tank, it's okay, because you've got Prey and Kuro who can carry as well.
Even Peanut.
Yeah, where on KT's side, Arrow is good, but yeah, Fly really struggles, so with Sunday on a tank, they might have a little bit more trouble with that. Looks like Kalista LeBlanc. Wow, Kalista falling really far down the draft today.
Kalista also saw nerfs. I didn't foresee that to change her pick ban status because she still really controls neutral objectives in a manner that is very impressive and still has a very strong laning phase, although there was those percentage health damage nerfs on her W. Speaking to Cloud Templar before we went live, and he's been talking to me about the Ryze flex pick building up. I think we might actually see some Ryze this week, despite, of course, the changes to his passive weeks ago. KT need to come up with a mid laner, and if they go Lulu, I feel like it's going to be a real low damage problem on the side of KT.
Is Fly going to play this Zed into the Blanc? No, looks like maybe a Zir. Maybe the Ryze.
Outside chance of the Ryze, but Azir has certainly been almost first pick status, and there's been no changes to his power level on 6.6. Surprising to see him fall this far down the draft, but looks like we are going to be seeing the Azir.
Yeah, Fly will be taking the Azir to the mid lane, and so there's our roster. Looks pretty good for ROX Tigers. That is a terrifying team comp for them.
Especially when we start talking about win rates on some of these champions. Smeb undefeated on the top lane, Nautilus 4-0. Kuro's most played champion this season has been LeBlanc, 7-0. And you could say, okay, you know, ROX Tigers have won a lot of games, but He's 7-0, 17 KDA LeBlanc. That is massive KDA numbers.
Yeah.
And it's a skill matchup in mid against the Azir. Fly's been struggling, and you'd have to give the big advantage to ROX Tigers with all this comfort on their side.
I know. I mean, Peanut on Kindred, Bray gets to play Kalista, Gorilla on Alistar. It's like you've given the ROX Tigers super team, right? So it may be kind of tough for KT. See what they can do to try to win here.
The comps have pretty similar identities. KT's comp makes a lot of sense. Other teams piloting this, I think, would do fine, but it just doesn't feel like Fly has a carry mindset or hasn't stepped into the carry role. Very much the third carry, sometimes the fourth carry, depending on what score is playing in the jungle when it comes to identity from KT Rolster. So we're going to have to see a new, assertive, aggressive Fly on the Azir, which he certainly can do, but just hasn't shown it with any consistency in 2016.
Yep, that's right. So, KT in a situation where they've got similar comps, but they may just kind of lose lane to everybody on ROX Tigers. I mean, it's going to be tough. See if they can do it. ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster, game 1. It's go time. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift for another week of League of Legends here on Champion Spring. ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster. And this one, I love watching ROX Tigers.
You should do, though. I mean, it's first v third. If you look at the rankings, of course, the rankings are a lot of flux given how close those teams are, and some teams have played one more best of 3 than others, but I hope it's a really competitive series. But given ROX and how good they've looked since that Samsung loss, and given KT losing to Afrika just a week ago, you have to say ROX come in heavy favorites.
Yeah. And I mean, I was looking at the schedule, and I believe ROX Tigers play Jinair one more time, but aside from that, the schedule's pretty light for these guys from here on out.
All the pressure's off, though. That's the one thing you might say is that...
Yeah, that is true.
ROX are first overall. There's no team that can catch them, so the only potential worry from a ROX perspective is, do they take the foot off? Do they just really start to hide strats and really look to future best of 3s? Because there is always the potential that some teams can find wins against them when their eyes are off the prize. Yep,
that is true. So ROX Tigers, yep, they have Jinair yet to play, and Afrika Freaks after this, which could be an interesting matchup with the way Afrika's been playing lately. KT after today will have to play CJ SK Telecom and Kongdu Monster. So
one guaranteed win, you'd have to think there from a KT perspective.
Yeah, I mean, SKT will definitely be tough. CJ could be really tough as well for KT if they kind of stay on what they've been doing lately.
The big factor there is whether CJ can win their next best of 3, because although they won't be mathematically completely out, they'll be close to that if they are to lose in the next series. Seeing a late invade here.
Yeah, well, Smeb trying to keep Achani from coming in and harassing Peanut, but that's not going to stop Achani waiting to proc that passive. Oh, the stacks fall off. Bummer. Oh, well.
Achani just being annoying, as supports have been wont to do.
Yeah. So, Kuro versus Fly in the mid lane, getting pushed back early on, but I suppose that's not too surprising given the matchup.
Worth knowing, the lane swap has been initiated from a ROX Tigers perspective.
Yeah.
Perhaps looking for some invades, or maybe trying to just play down the jungle matchup. Peanut's on a champion that can duel very well, but will evolve into certainly a farming style jungler when the Devourer comes through.
Yeah. It seems like when Peanut struggled a little bit this season, it's been when he hasn't been able to get into the enemy jungle and kind of be aggressive and take camps, find people to kill, and the score is going to be definitely one of the tougher junglers he's going to go up against. I mean, last time I believe it was a 2-1 victory for ROX Tigers.
It was, and again, the one game that ROX Tigers struggled was the one game where Peanut really fell behind in the early game. You think back to the Samsung series, Ambition was the big story there. He's been trading in the mid.
Wow, Fly. Popping Kuro's passive there.
Funny thing about this matchup is that Assassins were always thought of as the advantageous matchup against Azir, but LeBlanc in particular can struggle. You just throw down the Sand Soldiers when she goes for the Mimic, you get good trade damage. Usually LeBlancs would be forced to pick up Wow, okay,
That was tricky.
surprising.
Score trying to throw a cocoon in from the Raptor pit.
Was spotted out by a ward, but
That's really close.
LeBlanc's will be forced to go Flask back in the day. Now Crystalline Flask no longer exists. People don't go the Corrupting Potion on LeBlanc. You can really lose out in HP leads, and you actually do need a bit of jungle help to get through the Azir matchup early.
Well, not getting any yet, as Fly has been pushing this in. But Crow's been farming well, so he's not doing bad. Gotta watch out. Don't want to get poked by the Sand Soldiers. Or the Undead Soldiers in this case. Oh, there's Peanut. Is he going to come in on this? Going in, Kuro lands a change. Fly moving down to the river right away. Score not there. Peanut not really there either, so it was interesting. I kind of expected Peanut to come in with that.
I mean, Fly was very smart and cheating towards the bottom side where he knew that he had multiple members of his team backing him up.
Yeah,
didn't necessarily have defensive vision on that side, but had the vision in the enemy jungle, so was more confident that we wouldn't see Peanut from that angle.
Yeah, I suppose too. I mean, the ROX Tigers didn't really know where Score was. They probably knew he was on the bottom side somewhere, so better safe than sorry, I guess. Why not?
The 2016 meta.
Better safe than sorry, yeah.
Better
that's true.
safe than sorry. We can't get those aggressive wards down, so we have to guess if it's a lane swap, go for the double tower trade, and the result is what we've seen so much of.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much. Oh, Cull picked up by Arrow, so just going to be, what do you know? He's going to be farming. It's a lane swap.
Yep, Cull is definitely the hands up in the air or the white flag towards early aggression, saying let's play an extended laning phase.
Oh, Kuro gets hit with that cocoon. Fly coming in, passive pop. Kuro gets out with the distortion, though. Close call. Doesn't need to use any of his summoners, though.
So we'll have to back. Is getting punished in the Azir matchup, so far so good from a Fly perspective.
Yep. Peanut right there to just hold the lane for a moment while Kuro goes back. And looks like we're just going to trade turrets again, probably.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty much the same pace on both sides. We'll have to track to see if there's any differences in getting the favorable bounce for the top laners. But for now, as far as we can see, about the same.
Yep, that's right. Turret should go down at about the same time. Ah, and KT finds an opportunity to grab the Rift Herald, too. Herald Rift.
Now, the Rift Herald, you know, we often are dismissive of its power, but on a team with Sivir in particular, it can be very powerful. I think the second Rift Herald onwards should give to the Sivir, because an instant wave clear into really good turret threat with the buff coming through for the attack speed from minions is pretty strong, but of course this early in the game, not as big a factor.
Yeah, I think the Dragon may be a little bit bigger factor. As ROX Tigers get that. The Dragon is filled with spears. Oh, finish him off. There we go.
Prey's like, why aren't you smiting this? Tries to hold on to that cooldown.
So Kuro's starting to do a little bit of damage anyway. He's got his Fiendish Codex now.
Fly's definitely gone down the aggressive track. We do see some Azir players just rush into the Abyssal Scepter, at least the Negatron Cloak, then into the Stinger, but Fly understands that it's his job, honestly, and his role to output great damage and also have lane control over LeBlanc, something that Azir uniquely can have, so I like the rush on the Stinger.
Yep, should be fine.
You'll be happy to know that Arrow got a cull as well. Culls for everyone.
I am thrilled.
You sound it, though.
The culling, not just an ult for Lucian anymore.
Also a video game as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Score trying to take the red buff away, but Gorilla and Peanut don't want to allow that. Prey over the wall, too. So red buff does go to Peanut. KT pressing a little bit in. Oh, chain's missed.
Off the chain.
Oh, well, he was off the chain. Well, Blanc doesn't want to be off the chain, though. She wants people on the chain.
That's true.
Same with Thresh.
Look at this exciting top lane matchup. We'll see plenty of this week. All right.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Rift Tower's doing a lot of work here.
Yeah, I mean, the extra attack speed from the minions certainly helping push that tower down faster.
I do really like the rotation from KT to go for this aggressive play because, remember, Kalista has no AoE wave clear until she gets the Hurricane, so really not much they can do.
Yep. Not going to Prey. They're going to go in, Score, trying to repel away. Gorilla getting a little bit low. They may dive this. No, not quite. Teleport brings Smeb down as well as Someday. So nobody dies. No first blood yet. Fly just getting bullied out of lane by Peanut.
Double pinks actually in the river, both river brushes for KT, so no real threat for Fly.
Yep.
KT can't quite get down the turret either. It was very, very low health, but unfortunately Score tanked up 3 turret shots. pretty needlessly, honestly, and was punished for that, so they have to back away.
Yeah, well, Peanut's got a good idea, though. Gets in the enemy jungle, takes out the red bramble back. It's not really a bramble back, though. It's more like a red, sorry, glowy back.
It's a red bramble pit. That's what I learned from listening to Rivington's commentary.
I heard there are parties there.
In the bramble pit?
Yep. Word on the street. Red buff taken by Peanut.
It's one of those situations where he knew exactly where KT was and then could just go and counter jungle, had the timer from the first clear.
Yeah.
So smart to push the advantage, and that's what smart junglers will do, especially with the aggressive mindset that Peanut has.
That's right. Prey just getting whatever farm he can.
Well, the minion wave certainly pushed out, so no way for Prey to enter lane so far down, especially with no support.
Uh-oh. Score, Hachani trying to set up a gank onto Smeb in the top lane. Peanut is there, as is Gorilla, but Smeb on his own for so long. He's tanky Nautilus, so he's going to ult Score. Score takes some damage. Hachani throws up the shield for some blocking. Smeb getting even lower in first blood, taken by Someday. Now Gorilla and Peanut on their own. Kindred ult used. Someday didn't lose a whole lot of health, though. Here comes Kuro to finish off Someday. Probably going to get it. Yep, there's the kill for LeBlanc. And now Fly a little bit late to that party.
Really rare mechanical mistake from Peanut. He actually used his ult too late to keep Smeb alive. Smeb just dies at the start of the fight. The trust between these players. Oh,
hello, wow. Girl got caught. Trying to get away now. I don't know, nope, not quite enough. Yeah, I was gonna say, he was not gonna escape that one. Score picks up another kill. I'm not quite sure why Curl went that deep there.
That's an interesting question. You know, we talked about potentially ROX Tigers, you know, with their spot in the final guaranteed, taking the foot off the pedal, and not necessarily going to accuse them of that just yet, but uncharacteristic over-aggression from the ROX Tigers.
Oh, Kuro. His face checks a brush.
Face checking a brush against Elise and Braum.
Yep, not a great idea.
The pick power of...
I don't know why you do that.
The pick power of KT can't be denied. Remember, Maokai, Elise, Braum all have very reliable CC. Only Azir was the person that was not going to be in that brush, so well punished by KT.
Yeah, KT with a little bit of a gold lead overall, especially in the mid lane.
Speaking of face checks.
Yeah, no kidding. Arrow just walks into that one. Peanut doing a lot of damage. Arrow pops his Sivir ultimate, but he'll have to use it to run away.
Yeah, Peanut, with full information, would have gone for the kill, but didn't have the ability to know that there was backup that wouldn't necessarily be able to take him down so close.
Yep.
Result is has to back away.
It's a little over a minute until the next dragon comes up. And right now, anyway, the ROX Tigers have the wards.
Smarter Prey to rush the Hurricane. You know, we noted down bot where KT almost forced this inner turret down. The lack of AoE wave clear was really hurting ROX Tigers. And in fact, speaking of wave clear, it's only really the Kalista that can provide it. Of course, LeBlanc can get in melee range, but risky to do so against Maokai. Yep. Only have to look back to last year's MSI to remember the infamous Maokai counter pick, at least in a team comp way, to LeBlanc.
Yeah. Rift Herald number 2.
Whoa, Someday.
Over to KT.
Look at that item.
Wow, Rod of Ages. He's going a little bit aggressive here with this Maokai.
We knew the 2015 meta was coming back, but even the 2015-2014 Maokai itemization coming back.
I like it.
Well, we talked about them needing a bit more damage, and certainly Rod of Ages, with the high base values Maokai has, means that Aegis is certainly going to be a needed purchase to deal with the Maokai damage even.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw so many Maokais rush Righteous Glory for pretty much all of last year, but once in a while, you'd get that aggressive tree.
Well,
the battle tree.
Someday is certainly the battle tree. We'll give him that title.
True that. All right, ROX Tigers, an expedition into the enemy jungle. Oh, gets spotted. I think it got spotted right at the end there. Either way, they're in a good position to do some damage to this mid lane turret. Where is KT right now? Dragon is up. Okay, ROX Tigers getting a little bit done.
And KT didn't really communicate around their back timers that well. Fly went back to pick up a bit of magic resist and work towards the Nashor's Tooth, but Arrow wasn't there to meet the wave, and the result was a little bit of turret damage, but no big loss for KT.
It's kind of ironic that Fly is named Fly when he's playing a flightless bird in this particular game.
I feel like game on game, the relevance of his name comes into question. What about when he's playing Anivia, flapping around?
If he's playing Corki, it's okay too.
That's true.
But
Quinn as well?
Not Azir.
No.
Yeah. Azir doesn't really fly.
Yeah, no, sometimes when he gets those Azir sec plays, it certainly looks like he's flying around.
Kind of struts more, like a
bit of swagger.
Like a big emu.
Ah, keeping it topical.
Your national bird. Right, whoa. Crow. Just trying to harass Fly a little bit as KT takes the dragon. What is the national bird of Australia?
The emu.
Oh, okay. I knew that.
Nailed
KT coming in for a lot of damage on this turret. Peanut trying to come from the side, but nice zone from those Sand Soldiers. Well,
that was an ultimate.
I guess it was. Huh.
Well, the zoning ultimate from Alistair. Don't say those words very often.
Yeah. It's kind of odd. So it is emu, huh?
Yep.
All right. I just kind of guessed, but because it was the most, popular bird.
It's on our coat of arms as well.
It's a pretty intimidating bird.
It is.
Speaking of intimidating birds, this is Zero is putting a lot of pressure on this mid lane turret.
He's going to stay alive, but remember, ROX Tigers very low outer mid lane turret, and we noted before, very low bot lane inner turret as well. So turret damage advantage to KT. Couple of picks, it's going to be a lot of global gold going through to KT, and the map control they'll get if they can specifically get this outer mid lane turret with the low, as we noted, wave clear on the side of ROX Tigers. Despite the fact that this team comps are comparable, one of the big separators, again, is the wave clear difference between the two teams.
Pretty much.
But Prey adds on another item, specifically the Blade the Ruin King. Team fighting, I think, is going to be pretty significantly in the advantage to ROX Tigers, especially early, with Rod of Ages stacking up from Someday. So one team going to be competing for dragons and neutral objectives in general, and it's going to be more on KT to play the map.
Yeah. Certainly seems that way. And yeah, Peanut just clearing some wards. Other than that, everyone just kind of milling around the mid lane for the moment. There's no big map objectives to take aside from the mid lane turrets right now.
So often ROX Tigers are playing these super proactive comps. They're getting a big advantage in the early game through Peanut's aggression. This game, Peanut's ahead in CS, but hasn't really had many kill involvements. Going to be a later Devourer stacked up from him. ROX have the lower turret HPs as well, so it feels like for once they're very much on the defensive.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. This is one of the rare games where the ROX Tigers are behind in gold in 15 minutes after being usually way ahead of everybody else. They have an average, I think, still of at least 1,300 gold ahead at 15 minutes.
And sometimes they're behind, by 100 gold or at least in tempo, and you can tell that they don't care, right? They disregard the fact that they maybe died a couple of times in the top lane. They make aggressive moves. If you just watch their posturing on the map, you can see they feel like they're behind, maybe even more than they actually are.
Yeah, maybe. True. You just have to believe in yourself, Papa Smith.
I mean, the ROX Tigers.
Believe you can win that team fight.
Belief is one thing they have in spades.
Yes, they do. KT, though, believe it or not, has been pushing across the map, and they've been warding on their way, too. So they've been slowly sort of taking control of the bottom side, and that mid turret is ready to fall. Machani comes from the side. Nice Braum ultimate. Really good one. Locks up 3 people. Gorilla pops his ult again. They're going to turn this back around. Sivir ult used as Gorilla goes into the back lines. Pulled out with Fate's Call. Are they going to throw back in again? No. He's going to back away, and KT appropriately content to take that mid lane turret.
While it might have looked like over-aggression from KT, the fact that they could take a turret and then put down the Sun turret meant that there was no way back for the ROX Tigers. They couldn't afford to turret dive the structure, and so KT get a bit of aggression for free, get the turret that they were so desperately looking for, now have control of the map. Maokai goes back to farming. Nice little move from KT.
Yep. Yeah, not bad. Oh, Peanut finds score, but Arrow's right there too. Peanut needs to get out of here. Kuro running away. Here comes the teleport for KT. Someday all over that LeBlanc. Peanut on the round uses that Lamb's respite to let Gorilla come in. Oh, but it doesn't help. Arrow takes him out as soon as he steps off of it. Kuro and Prey right there. Someday diving deep. Kuro has to flash. They're going to turn it around onto Maokai. There's a kill for Kuro. Meanwhile, the minions do take out the Disc of the Sun in the mid lane. So they traded 1 for 1. And another kill onto Kuro certainly isn't bad for the ROX Tigers.
Important to note that Smeb cancelled his teleport and managed to get free farm in the top lane. He's going to be able to push this lane and reset. ROX Tigers invested less resources to go even, so you have to give the very slight advantage to ROX on the little skirmish that we saw on our screens.
Yeah, that turned out pretty good. They got a little bit of that map control back. Let's watch that again.
That's a really good teleport coming through from Someday, and Peanut's just too far forward. Gorilla tries to buy him time, but Arrow, very nice spell shield into the flash auto attack. Keep chasing, but remember, this ends up a 1-for-1 because Someday goes overly aggressive, probably overrates his tankiness this early in the game, only has health coming through from the Rod of Ages pickup, and is punished.
Yeah, I think he did go a little bit crazy with that dive. It looked almost like there was a little bit of confusion on the call there too, because he kind of went in and everyone else sort of milled around a little bit. They didn't follow up right away.
It's a mindset thing though. When you've invested your teleport and you can see that the enemy top laner hasn't used it, you feel obliged to get that big advantage. Like, oh, well, I teleport, I'm going to have to go for this. Ended up just over pursuing, and the result's the 1-for-1 trade.
Suppose that is true. Well, Prey has to be careful in his own jungle now. KT's going to get the 3rd Rift Herald in the row.
I really like the pink ward lineup from KT. Look at the beautiful line of wards from the top side of the mid lane down. You know, even this tri-brush ward as well. KT's picked up every Rift Herald and is 1-for-1 in Dragons. So you think about the sum total of what ROX have achieved in the early game. It's not a lot.
No, not much. Run. Score. Coming in, they force a flash. The cocoon is ready, though. Smeb could be in a bit of trouble. Yeah, and when I say a bit of trouble, a lot. Nice anchor, tries to get away, trying to get back to some of his teammates, but nobody's really around. So the great Nautilus chase ends with another kill for Someday. Gorilla and the rest of the ROX Tigers, though, sacrificing their top laner for a dragon.
And that was one of the situations where watching the minimap was really indicative of the ROX Tigers shot calling. You saw Kuro starting to cheat up when he saw the chase coming through, then instantly got a call to go to mid to make the way towards Dragon. They realized they could swap 1 kill for the Dragon, and if they had given up a second Dragon to go along with just the stranglehold on the map that KT have had for the first 20 minutes, it would have been just perhaps a hole that ROX Tigers would have found very difficult to emerge from, but decisively told, go to Dragon, we'll trade it for Dragon. The clear shot call compared to KT's muddied shot call with the turret dive is the difference between these two teams.
Yep, very true. That said, KT still has a 3,000 gold lead right now. But, you know, as we go farther in the game, the more even it stays, I think the better the game is for ROX Tigers in the end.
I think it's quite telling that with 0, 1, and 2 as a stat line, Peanut actually has 25 Devour stacks in 20 minutes. That's actually really impressive. He's certainly not been looking for counter ganks, making proactive moves. He will have his Devourer at a really good timing. And when I was watching the VODs from last week, I was taking note of when Devourers are coming through, and a snowball Devourer averaged around 18 to 19 minutes. So for a delayed Devourer to be finished at maybe 23 minutes into the game, lets you know that the farming mindset has definitely been observed by Peanut.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's like 23 CS ahead right now of score, which is not bad. Score, though, with that little level advantage, just due to probably a little bit more damage done across the board, a couple more kills, turrets and stuff.
You can tell what's happened this game from the farm numbers. If you look at the difference, I believe ROX Tigers have actually found 50 sets more. Oh boy.
Gorilla with the engage. Fly in trouble. Headbutt used, but Fly pushes people out with the Emperor's Divide. Still gets knocked up in the end there by Smeb's ultimate. Everybody low. Lamb's Respite trying to get that heal off. There we go. KT chasing ROX Tigers back down the mid lane, though. Someday, meanwhile, split pushing down in bot. ROX Tigers tried to engage there, but it didn't work out. Seems a bit worrisome.
5v4, didn't find anything. KT now, double pink ward around Baron. ROX Tigers can't afford to disrespect this area, and Peanut prime for a face check.
Gorilla right there, they're going to jump right onto him. They know Alstar has no ult, they blow him up immediately. And now KT on the run. Nice TP from Someday, comes in from behind, helps him lock up Kindred. A kill onto Peanut. And KT Rolster going to go right over to that Baron.
Just a perfect use of taking down the outer mid lane turret early, allowed them to push up vision. Beautiful teleport flank from Maokai. Well, now ROX Tigers, what are they going to do?
This is a really tight KT Rolster team so far in this game.
You just never know what to expect from KT. Sometimes you see this KT, sometimes you see the Protect the Draven. How can they look clueless about the meta, then completely on top of it within weeks? It's crazy to see.
I don't know, man. I think both telecoms have that quality lately.
SKT maybe earlier in the season, KT, around the business end, starting to suddenly show some life. I love the deep ward they have down. Again, only afforded by having the outer mid lane turret down earlier and using it with great success.
Yep. Yeah, and this LeBlanc from Kuro just isn't getting strong enough, it looks like.
It's hard to really finger wave too much. I think it's just, again, you put together the factors of KT making the better objective trades early, a farming jungler on the side from Peanut. Usually Kindreds will abuse that level 3 power spike, go for the early trade, maybe try and contest an early buff, go for an early kill, then go towards farming, but it's purely been farming from Peanut. And for once we see a game where a Devourer Kindred, specifically Peanut on a Devourer champion, the lack of pressure he's put on the map has really been demonstrated, because the turret lead, it's only a single turret, but the pressure lead, those pink walls that have been sticking for so long, indicate that KT has run the first 25 minutes pretty much single-handed.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of worrisome. It seems like if, we saw this with Peanut on Gragas too, where he can't really be aggressive and be a force to be reckoned with in the enemy jungle. The whole team kind of struggles. KT putting some pressure on this tier 2 in mid lane. And the teleport coming in from behind. ROX Tigers are going to try to fight this. Gorilla goes in really early. Here comes the ult from Smeb. Going to knock up Fly. They're going to try to get back onto him. Prey getting a lot of nice auto attacks in. But ROX Tigers have to back away. A kill for Arrow already. And KT with the edge in this fight. There go the Sand Soldiers. A kill for Hachani. And KT crushing this fight. A triple kill for Arrow, and they're going to at least get an inhibitor. This may be the game with the Baron buff. What do you think?
Optimistic to go for a teleport flank against a team with Baron, especially with Azir, Braum, Maokai, so much disengaged. They're going to look for the win.
Yeah, Peanut doing what he can, but he is 1v5 right now as KT runs in for the win at sub 25 minutes. Goodbye, Peanut. You're peanut butter now. KT should be able to finish off the second Nexus turret, and then the Nexus. Gorilla trying to be the support hero that we all know he is, but right now it is all KT Rolster, a dominating game number 1. GG.
To say it's dominating, it's a 25-minute win over the ROX Tigers. We have not seen the likes of a game like this all season, but KT drafted very similarly to ROX, except they got the advantage in every early game trade. Extra objectives, extra neutrals specifically, no pressure applied by Peanut. We've seen Kindred games where he just takes over the map, gets kills everywhere. Instead, was mostly focused on farming, and for once the team took advantage of that, took the game by the scruff of the neck and never let it go. 25-minute win.
I do wonder if that is actually the quickest loss we've seen from the ROX Tigers this season yet.
I think easily, though. I don't have the stat in front of me, but we just haven't seen many 25-minute games. Simply.
Wow. Well, we saw Como laughing as not Como. We saw Nofe. Don't tell Como I confused Nofe with it. He will hate me forever. We saw Nofe laughing as he walked into the booth, so clearly they're not too concerned about it. And again, the ROX Tigers have first place locked up for the rest of the season. I mean, they're already in the finals, so it's not really a big deal if they lose any of the matches from here on out. But I don't know. Peanut still looked a little bit upset. I think they still want to win.
This doesn't strike me as a team that can just take the pedal off and actually still perform. Remember, they had a season a year ago where similar scenario came through and then they got crushed in the finals. So I think we're going to see a revitalized ROX Tigers in Game 2.
I was just about to say, yeah, they were in a similar situation a year ago and it didn't end well for them. So ideally, we're going to see them looking a little bit tighter when we come back, guys. Don't go anywhere. KT versus ROX Tigers game number 2. We'll be back right after this.